to land some punches. You need to make your effort as a Christian count. I'm not talking to you about fighting. You know that. Paul wasn't talking to them about fighting. Take the analogy, transfer it, and apply it. You've got to make your intentional effort in living the Christian life. You need to make it matter. You need to put it where the rubber meets the road and be skillful in fighting that battle against self. Verse 27, but I discipline my body. That discipline, put it under subjection. Ellen White said, the greatest battle ever fought is the battle against self. And I believe it. Our Christian victories are more often won struggling on our knees than anywhere else. And if you don't believe it, look at the example of Jesus Christ. His victory, I believe, was won in Gethsemane. Before Satan met him at the cross, he had already gained the victory in Gethsemane. If he hadn't been through the agonizing prayer night in Gethsemane, he never would have been able to go on to the cross and be victorious there. The victory was won before he got to the cross. He was just seeing it through. But it was when he was praying 3 times, Father, if there's any way to take this cup from me, please do it. In other words, I don't want to go to the cross. But he always surrendered his will in the end. Nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done. That's how victories are won in the Christian life. Surrendering to the will of the Father. Not my will, but thine be done. And finally, he comes to his disciples and says, enough. In other words, I'm done. I'm ready. It's time to go. And he can face the cross because he'd come to grips with what he was going to be doing. He had gained that victory. I discipline my body and bring it into subjection. You know, the word discipline is used in Luke 18:5 too, where it's Jesus telling the parable about the woman who's persistent, that widow who keeps coming back to the judge, and the judge finally says, look, I don't care about God. I don't even care. I'm not a respecter of people. But this woman is going to, your Bible may say, weary me or wear me out if I don't just give her what she wants. The word is the same here, this discipline word, and neither place is it translated very accurately in most translations. Most versions of the Bible don't say what it literally says. It means to give you a black eye, to make black and blue. In other words, this woman's going to, give me a black eye with her constant relentless coming at me with her requests. Or in Paul's case, I beat up my body in order to keep it under control. Do you know why that's important? Because Satan will use the desires of your body to gain control of your mind. Satan will work through the body to reach the mind. You have to let God strengthen your mind so that you can control your body with the mind. It works the other way. People who give in to lustful desires, to appetite, to comfort, to security, those are the kind of people who will say, well, I'll give in, whatever, when the hard times come. But people who are willing to say, no matter what, I'm going to be faithful to God, even if it's painful, even if I'm starving and I can't buy and sell, even if I'm tortured, whatever. If I'm burning at the stake as a martyr, you see the victors throughout history, the champions for God who said, I'd rather die than be unfaithful to God. Those are the kind of people who had self-discipline. I'm willing to beat up my body. Paul says I've learned to be content in all circumstances, right? And he knows what it's like to be hungry, to be beaten, to be shipwrecked. Unfortunately, today, I believe, we see a society which is more interested in comfort and security than what's right and good and true. And we will give up freedoms and even accept lies in order to feel secure and comfortable. And that's exactly what Satan, the enemy of your soul, wants. But I beat up my body and bring it into subjection. The word used there is all about slavery, like a slave master. That's exactly the word that was used. And Paul knows he's talking to people, many of whom understand slavery because they were slaves. Some of them were slaves before they served in the army and became free. Some of them